start the recording. Okay. Episode 62, title, Servant Leadership. Interview with Joe Molina, brought to you by Go Legal Yourself, an online business providing real legal tools for savvy entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Go Legal Yourself podcast, episode 62, title, Servant Leadership. I'm your host, Attorney Kelly Bagler, the Queen of Business Law. You can interact with us on social media and definitely do find us on the web at golegalyourself.com. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Joe Molina, the founder and CEO of Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Well, thank you, Kelly. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. First of all, thank you very much for your service.
Well, thank you for organizing. I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. And do you have a funny lawyer joke to share with us?
Well, I'm not really good with jokes. So they usually come at the worst times. My daughters, they have two daughters, and they call them the daddy jokes. So when that comes around, I'll definitely let you know.
That means we'll have you back on the show then.
Hey, that's a good clip, yes.
That's fantastic, Joe. Well, share with us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'll start with the military background, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So I'm Army person. Joined the military, and like always, they give you choices. Where do you want to go? So my choices were, they asked me where to go. So I selected California, Hawaii, and Germany. And so they sent me to Alaska. So,
I was just going to say, Joe, you can't go wrong with those three. You ended up in Alaska.
I know. So like I had to research what Alaska looked like, where it was. So then I arrived to Alaska, to Anchorage, beautiful city. Oh my gosh, beautiful city. So I said, okay, I can do this, not a problem. Then they send me the real orders to say you're going to Fairbanks, which is like hours north, really, really cold.
Oh my goodness.
Like, oh my gosh. So surprises just kept coming. So that's the life of the military, just surprises. So we always adjust and adapt. But now that I gone through to that experience, I tell you, Kelly, that was the best experience ever. Alaska is the most beautiful place, beautiful people. The weather is drastic, but that's the beauty of it. Not many people can say they can throw hot coffee up in the air and it will crystallize before it hits the ground.
Oh my goodness.
So
see,
those
Joe, that's on my bucket list. I definitely want to go to Alaska. And my husband, he served in the Marines, and if you ask him, he'll say it was the best damn job he's ever had.
That is absolutely right. And in the military, my job, if you want to call that, it was training. So always been in training, always been teaching. My first teaching class, I believe, I don't want to put a date on it to be exact, but I was a teenager. I know I was a teenager, and I was teaching adults how to go and pursue their high school degrees or their high school diplomas. So I love teaching. I've always been in that mode. I had my first teaching actual class for a high school when I was 19. So it was, and I was teaching algebra because the instructor couldn't be there. So asked me if I could fill in. So I had to prepare. I prepared for weeks to do I believe at that time was like 40 minutes, 20 minutes a session. But I like math. I love algebra. So it was something that a great opportunity. So always been in that mode of training, development. So needless to say, in the military was just second nature to train and find ways to better train individuals on how to do things, faster, better, with less equipment, with less expense, that kind of thing. So I really enjoyed it. Yes.
I always think that the military, either any branch whatsoever, but the military, it truly produces leaders. And the title of the show is Servant Leadership. So you were a leader from the beginning. You were teaching courses to other people. And I truly think that it should be mandatory across the states. You know, every kid, when they graduate from high school, they should at least go serve for 2 to 4 years. It should be mandatory because that's how you're going to get future leaders for America.
Well, and that's I think there's definitely benefit on that, and the other benefit of that is that everyone who goes in the military, your husband, myself, and everybody, we all decided to do that. We all
Yes,
volunteered. So it was just our heart and our passion to be there to do for our country, to protect and defend, to be there. So it was our choice. No one told us you gotta go and do that. It was our choice to do that, and we will happily. I mean, you guys ask anybody who's been in the military, will you do it again? Everyone that I asked you is like, man, just say when and where. So
exactly.
it's that kind of heart and passion that you're really looking for, and that's how you develop servant leadership. Servant leadership is not mandated. You cannot force someone to be servant. You cannot force someone to be a leader. You can instruct them and educate them, but a servant leader must be willing to do that on their own.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yes, absolutely. We love veterans on this show, Joe. We they're very near and dear to my heart. And so I'm really looking forward to creating more of a partnership with you. And how did you transition from the military into becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, that's the other funny thing is like, I started my first business when I was a teenager as well. I created my first event.
Wow.
And it, so it was successful event. It was fun to do. It was nerve-wracking. You create events. So I put together groups of people who were experts on things. I put together karate experts, clowns, magicians, and just basically brought an audience to that. And it was just, again, it was nerve-wracking and it was exciting. So entrepreneurship has always kind of been part of what I do every day. And so it just became second nature on doing that. But after the military, I went into work as a business consultant, a business advisor. That was my dream job, to be honest. It's like, oh, I have a dream job. That was my dream job. And I did that for many, many, many years. And but at the same time, I continued to be a faculty member for universities and colleges. I still am a professor at universities and colleges. I'm still teaching, So, but then that gave me an opportunity to serve better, to serve more. So how do I do that? How do I impact? So I saw a few gaps that needed to be filled in San Diego initially. And my idea was just to do a San Diego chapter of the Veterans Chamber of Commerce to help San Diego veterans. But I mean, it wasn't, not even a month or two before I started getting requests and questions from all over the nation. How to do this? Why did this happen? So it just grew out of a necessity, and it grew organically. And we started just with commerce, just helping veterans start businesses, and then the spouses. But then it grew into, okay, well, not everyone can do a business, but people want also their jobs. How do we help there? Then from there, well, people get businesses or jobs, but they also need education and training. So how do we help in education? And then, but in the military, I strongly believe that even though we go in as individuals, we bring the whole family together, including our parents. I mean, my parents were also worried about where I was.
Right.
And at that time, there was no internet that we have today. There was no FedEx, there was no UPS, things like that. So, it wasn't, you didn't have Prime Amazon back then. So when they will send me things that I like, when they will cook for me, because they didn't have anything like that in Alaska. So the family, the entire family goes in the military with the veteran, with the active person. So we
Absolutely.
honor that in the chamber. We wanted the family to also have a voice and a place in the chamber. So we welcome veterans, of course. We welcome active duty. We welcome the spouses. We welcome the parents, and we welcome the kids, because children also go through that as well. I had one of my daughters was born in Alaska, in the military base. So everyone goes in. So everyone is part of the process, is part of the experience. So it is a family affair. So now the chamber grew from just one tiny little spot in San Diego to now we have a national presence. And we continue to grow that presence, in different formats, either by doing chapters. In chapters, require a little bit more operation mindset, if you will, more of a servant leadership, if you will. But we also have what is now called the community local veteran advisors, because communities want to help veterans, but many times they don't know how.
Right.
Military bases want to connect with the communities, but they also don't know how. It's like they're speaking different lingos.
Right.
Like, the military has their lingos and the civilians have their lingos. And like, what do you mean? That kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So these military advisors are trained by the chamber to become the point of contact and create a presence that kind of puts those two together, the communities and the military together, to create programs, to answer questions, to serve as the advisor for the community and all military matters. So right now we're certifying people from New York, we're certifying people from California, and it's just the beginning. This is our first cohort, but we already have people requesting from other places, Idaho, Arizona, which they will be part of our second cohort. So it just, again, it just keeps growing that way. And now, as you know, we have the radio show, which brings a lot of the vision and a lot of visuals to our communities. And we wanted to keep our chamber free. No one pays. That was from the beginning. From the beginning was a few elements, parameters that we wanted to enforce was, one, no one pays. Everything is free for the veteran, their family members, and for the veteran-owned businesses.
That's incredible, Joe.
Yes.
What a way to give back.
Absolutely. And they wanted to give back too. So the second part was everyone who joins has to be part or want to be part of the veteran community. So we wanted to open the chamber to everyone. Like I said, veterans, active duty, and their families. So you can be the mom, the spouse, the daughter, the son, whoever, the grandparent. Because if you are proud of, being part of the community, we want you. We want you to be part of us.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. That's absolutely fantastic. So walk me through a process. So a veteran is either looking to better themselves, either by starting their own business or looking for a job. So what would they need to do, Joe, to start on that career path, if you will?
Well, and that's a great question, because one of the things that we did was, okay, we can be the central point. Everybody comes to us. We train them all on business, on jobs, and this and that. But that's an impossible task. It doesn't work well. So we came up. We basically strategically work, because we create programs. We work with organizations and businesses and individuals to create programs that basically fit those needs. So we have programs like employment programs. So we have a program that we created and we're partnering with an organization who does that already. They're veteran owned. We vet them to make sure that they are really that. And then their main purpose is to help veterans get jobs. And then on the entrepreneurship side, yeah, we do provide some training and we do provide courses. We now have courses approved by the VA, approved by the one-stop centers. So those programs are there. And those programs also are in partnership and also and part of the chamber, but they're in partnership with organizations who that's what they do already. So our main, what we see ourselves, we are the conduit, and we take on leadership on helping people, individuals or organizations who have ideas or for projects or programs, and they want to bring them forward and help the veterans and support the veteran community. So we stand behind them. We work alongside with them to create these programs, to create these projects. I give you an example. Besides the one you mentioned right now, we have, for example, the Housing for Heroes program.
Right.
The Housing for Heroes program, I mean, we know that homelessness is a big issue with veterans in the community at large. And many organizations do their best, and they do a great job of providing that solution. There's a lot of people who are really helping in many different ways. One way that we wanted to do that was to create a network of individual veterans helping veterans. So what we do is that we work with municipalities, with nonprofit organizations who are already helping veterans in the housing situation, and we connect them with certified realtors who are already veteran friendly, certified by the chamber, to work with them and establish local networks so they can help veterans purchase homes at the right prices. We stand from prevention. Once someone becomes homeless, it's extremely hard to bring them out. And there's people that they have the resources for that. We want to prevent that. We want to stop that from happening from the beginning. So to do that, we wanted to create these local networks. So that's what Housing for Heroes is about. So we identify communities, organizations, and politicians, legislators, anybody who hear us and they want to. Everything is if they want to do this. And then we put them together with a network of realtors who are certified, and they are certified veteran friendly, veteran friendly to work. And then we establish that partnership, the local partnership, for them to create those solutions for the local veterans. That's just one example of the programs that we create.
So Joe, I know that there are a handful of nonprofits here in the county of San Diego that specifically do cater to the veteran community. So what was your thought process when you decided to found the Veterans Chamber of Commerce?
Well, so I think a lot of people, and I admire those organizations because they all, and I met a lot of them, if not most of them, all of them, or some of them, but everyone that I met so far have a huge heart for veterans. All they want to do is help veterans.
Right.
So, and I respect that, I admire that, and I do not want to get on the way. Like, you do what you do, and I respect what you do, I support what you do. So creating the chamber was just the logical thing to do, because they have to continue doing what they're doing. What I'm here is to provide the additional extra support, the platform with all of us can collaborate. And that's a key word for us, collaboration.
Yes.
So that was the mindset behind it.
Right. So it's completely free for the members to join, but obviously you cannot run a business on free alone. So how can somebody contribute towards helping the chamber?
We have different ways, and we also had to become very creative on that because we still wanted to continue offering the free membership to veterans.
Yes.
And to offer the free membership to veteran-owned companies. So we rely on kind of out-of-the-box situations. So we do fundraising events. We partner with organizations who want to give back. So let's say, for just to say a name, doesn't mean they are, but just to say one. Let's say the Sheraton organization wants to support veterans, so they allocate a room in one of the hotels. So that whoever rents that room or gets that room, a portion of that room becomes, whatever they charge becomes a donation, a sponsorship to the chamber. There is restaurants, they have also allocated certain products of their menu, and then a percentage of that goes to support the veteran chamber. We also have sponsors that they want to contribute to programs, and so a lot of them don't want to release their name. It's just like, we want to say thank you. So no, please don't. So they just want to be anonymous. So like, okay, well, thank you very much. They just want to give back. They just want to help.
Yes.
They don't want the recognition, which is admirable. So so people like that. So we also create partnerships. So when someone has a program or that they already they are for-profit entity and they want to create that program and they want to give back to the chamber. So they say, we have this much and we would like to donate or sponsor the chamber with 10%, a pledge, we call it a pledge of 10% or whatever we make, give back to you. So, and that is how people do that. Now, one thing that we also did it was a strategical move, but we don't allow anyone, none of the chapters, to have buildings. We cannot rent or buy or invest or anything like that in buildings. So our overhead is very, very low. And by the way, also, I have to recognize the County of San Diego give us a big support every year. So they're extremely strong supporters of the chamber. Yes. And I wanted to thank them. They cannot be named by names, but they can thank the County of San Diego for supporting the chamber.
Of course.
Well. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So as far as doing business with a veteran, okay, so mm-hmm. What has been the most like your greatest, I'm trying to think of the word here.
Challenging.
What has your greatest, what's the word, Joe?
Like obstacle?
No, that's coming later.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we start with that? What's your greatest obstacle been so far?
Mine?
Yes.
I don't have any. I don't believe in obstacles.
No, but that's right. You said earlier, right? You said you overcome.
Absolutely. There's a terminology, it's called the SWOT analysis.
Yes.
Right? Strengths,
yes.
opportunities, and threats. The W doesn't exist in my vocabulary. So we have challenges, but they're just challenges. That if I would have stopped when people told me that what I was doing was crazy, but no. The third thing I wanted to share with you when I started this was that there was a requirement that I made to myself. I only work with positive people. I only work and collaborate with positive people.
I love it.
I don't take any what-ifers. I don't take any devil's advocates. They do not belong in my meetings. I do not work with them. They probably belong somewhere else, but not with us.
That's fantastic. See, to be an entrepreneur, you have to have that certain mindset. And you're absolutely right. If somebody says to you, oh, Joe, you can't do it, right? That's never going to work. Well, exactly. What do they know?
Right.
So I think if people actually listen to naysayers all the time, mm-hmm. we wouldn't have half of the incredible businesses that we have in this world, right? People who initially put off. So yeah. I absolutely love what you do, the service that you provide to our veteran community. But what has been one of the greatest achievements, would you say, thus far for your mm-hmm. Veteran Chamber of Commerce?
The biggest achievement, and I have to say this aloud and as loud as I can, but it's been the people.
Yes.
We started this just 2 Marines and an Army guy. No, right. 1 Marine, 1 Navy, 1 Army guy. And I'm the Army guy.
Right.
So, but they say, they're like, so I'll do all the work. So I'm the executive, so I do all the work. But the achievement was that, and you met Laura, you met Michael, you met Dali, you met Shelly. And it's just been the people that I'm working with right now, that they're working within the chamber to enhance the value of the chamber. I couldn't create that myself.
Right.
You know, it just organically has grown to that level, and then that brings other people, like the Homeland magazine that we write for. Mike there is like extremely supportive of that. People like you who are willing to share your legal time, your legal expertise. You are the, like I was telling my wife, you are the only attorney that I talk to who actually gives them the nitty gritty and the ABCs on what to do and what not to do. I wouldn't go with anyone else when I have a question.
Right.
We love that. We love that simplicity, that, that no nonsense. And so people like you, people like all the team that we have in the chamber, and all the ones that are coming along and they're wanting to do that, that's the greatest success that I see. Not the money. I don't care
Right.
about that.
Right.
I don't
The
care
money
about
will
that.
come. The money will always come.
The money always comes, and I don't need it.
Right.
And the chamber doesn't need it. Now, I mean, people, say, well, some people ask me, well, what would you do? You win the lotto. Like, well, I wish I didn't, because then, it blocks every concept of innovation in my head. Why would I do that?
Right.
No way.
Well, you could win it, but you could still continue doing what you're doing because you love what you do. And so it's not really a job, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. But you know what? I tell you, there is a little bit of fear and need that is in place with creativity and innovation. Complacency is the worst enemy of innovation and creativity.
Agreed.
So
Absolutely agreed.
So it has to be a little bit of healthy, similar, minuscule sense of need or fear. I've been teaching classes since I told you. I mean, since 2000, I've been at the university, and I've been teaching classes then. Every single time, I don't know why, every single time that I'm ready to start a class, I'm nervous. Students don't know that.
Right, exactly.
I'm nervous too, but I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of, my hands are sweaty when I'm.
Why? Why do you get nervous?
It's just, I don't know. It's a little bit of fear. It's a bit of uncertainty, but that little bit of fear or uncertainty makes me prepare even more.
That's it. Yeah. All of these famous speakers, right? These public speakers, such as Tony Robbins, and that I'm sure in that split second before they go on stage, right, they have butterflies in their stomachs and they do get sweaty palms. But that could be obviously a combination of, yes, this is exciting. I'm excited to be here. People are here to listen to me. And, if you're not prepared, then you only sort of make a fool out of yourself, right? So we should really be calling you Professor Joe.
No, Joe's fine.
So Joe, I do have one more question for you.
Yes.
If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Which part?
In your business life.
Oh, that's a great question. I would probably just do it again.
Yeah, same way.
Yeah, same way. Because again, one of the things that is very important when I'm teaching entrepreneurs to do this is like, have you been rejected? Probably not, because you have not started business yet. So you have to learn to love the word no.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
You'll hear the word no more than you'll hear yes.
Absolutely. You will hear 1,000 no's before you hear one yes. I write, I mean, I don't write them, but I have someone who writes grants for me. And we write grants every month,
right,
to so many different foundations. And I get in my email every week, couple of rejections all the time. And it's like, if I was going to be affected by every time someone says no, And that would not be good. That would not
You'd,
be effective.
you'd close your doors and walk away,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I'll go to the couch and cry. But no, same thing in business. I mean, in business, we have to be, we have to be servant enough, humble enough to approach people the right way, to know how to. No different than they have to be humble enough and servant enough to approach customers and approach our employees. But we also have to be um, conscious and aware and familiar with what it looks like to be rejected, what it
Right.
looks like to be told no. Because if all my employees tell me yes all the time, well, that's great, that's awesome. But the first time someone tells me no, what's going to happen? So if I have employee, you asked me for challenges before, but one of the biggest challenges is actually having people to commit to the mission.
Right.
So if I was going to be disappointed because people have come and gone, I would be devastated. So for me, those are the no's that I have learned to just basically accept as facts of life, and embrace and rejoice and celebrate all of the people who have stayed, and who are who are marching or walking alongside with the mission. Like I say, all the teams that are in the chamber, and we have a lot of people in the chamber now, and they're all active, and including yourself. So it's a lot of people who have the same passion, the same heart.
There you go. I was going to ask you, Joe, what would be your biggest advice to entrepreneurs? But I think you nailed it there. Learn to love the word no.
Right, right. Well, absolutely. It's like I told you, I used an example, probably not a good example, but it's just an example that's very graphic. But it's like a boxer.
Right.
If someone was trying to be a boxer and you cannot stand being hit, you're probably in the wrong profession.
Exactly.
You know?
Completely agreed. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So from your perspective right now within the chamber, are you seeing more veterans start their own businesses, or are they actually looking for employment?
Right now, there are more people looking for employment than businesses because of the uncertainty of times.
Right.
But my advice to everyone, not just veterans, to everyone, and I've done this, and I tell you, there's no match, and that's and you do that too. Um, you have to have both. You have to have both.
Right.
Yeah, you can have a job, but you don't know whether the job is going to end or not. Well, you're going to like your boss or not, because not every leader and not every boss, not every supervisor has a servant mentality.
No, they don't.
Most of them don't,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
They make lives miserable for a lot of employees. So you may not like that. So having always something that you're
Right.
doing yourself the way you want to, and you're learning to be profitable. You don't have to be in business full time all the time, and you don't have to invest thousands and thousands of dollars. That's another thing that I tell everyone. If you have overhead from the starting point of your business, you're already going backwards.
Right.
Overhead is, if we're talking about, this is an example also. To me, overhead is like carbs.
Some of them are nice.
Avoid them as much as you can.
I've never heard that one, Joe. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, that could be my joke for the day.
There you go. Wonderful.
But
Wonderful
it's,
joke.
yeah. And then the other one is risk. How do you manage risk?
Yes.
And I say that if you want to start a business, have your wallet fit the size of your business, not the other way around. So if in my wallet or my bank account or whatever, in my wallet, I have been able to save up $10,000, then I know that I have a percentage of that can be used for business. My suggestion is 50% of that goes untouched, period.
Right.
No reason whatsoever. So 50% goes and stays there.
Right.
30% is invested only if you're buying a business or you have a business that is already creating revenue and it's already creating profit.
Right.
But if you want to come up with an idea that may or may not work, that hey, I think it's a great idea ever, then you cannot spend more than 10%.
You know, entrepreneurs, especially the first time entrepreneurs, they're very excited about starting a business, and rightfully so, right? I'm excited for them. But they get sucked into that black hole, Joe, just what you just said. They're going to go out and get expensive business cards, get an expensive website. No, hold off. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a website. You don't. This is the beauty of business. Business actually evolves every time that you make a sale. It's going to evolve. It's going to evolve. But that's the number one mistake that I've seen, Joe, that these brand new entrepreneurs, they go out and they spend all their savings on things that shouldn't really cost them that much, like websites and business cards and marketing, right?
And cars.
Cars. There you go. Yes, cars. I had to earn mine.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That is the key. I was going to say that because you can invest in 10% of the business on the business and a new concept, a new idea. Yeah, get excited as 24/7, get excited and all that. But as you start your business should be creating enough revenue to get you growing.
Yes.
Out-of-pocket money only comes to the business one time.
Right.
The government says the business is an independent entity. As you know, you said.
Absolutely.
Well, if it isn't, you have to treat it as an independent entity. Not someone that you have to invest money. You're not your own customer.
Not a dependent, right?
Absolutely.
Not a dependent. Yes, yes.
Not
I love that concept. I love it. You're giving me more material to write about. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'll credit you, Joe, but I'm going to use it.
Oh, please do.
That's fantastic.
Yes,
Joe, how can our audience get a hold of you?
Well, first of all, what I would like, our website is the main way to getting a hold of us. And what we want to do is, like, people think that veterans are that we serve veterans, and we serve veterans, but we really, really look for veterans who want to impact communities. That is our goal, number one goal, is to have veterans and people who love veterans come with us, alongside with us, join us to impact communities.
Right. Right.
Nonprofits, like you were talking about earlier, the nonprofits are in San Diego and everywhere else. They are there to support and help veterans and veterans in need. And we all have needs, and those exist for that. We exist to have those veterans and those who love veterans come alongside so we can impact communities.
Fantastic.
We become servants of change, if you will.
Right. Right.
To come and serve our communities. Now, the website is the best way to get in touch with us. And then once we get our website, our people will then, if their need is to that transition out of the military, or they're looking for schools or education, then we start, now that we have these advisors, the veteran advisors, we connect them to those advisors and then to the closest one, wherever that is, so they can really help them one-on-one and provide them the connections.
That's perfect. That's perfect, Joe. We're going to have all of your information part of our show notes, so the audience can go directly to the downloaded app, Go Legal Yourself, and they can have a look at the show notes and contact you directly from there. They can contact me directly from there too. And Joe, it's truly been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Oh, the pleasure has been mine. And also, please include on your notes our partnership now that we are going to start offering the legal center, the Veterans Chamber Legal Center, which you are the attorney who is going to be basically leading that center for us.
That's fantastic.
I'm very, very excited about that, which we'll develop and make it and materialize everything. Any idea that we come up with, we implement it. We are not
Fantastic, Joe.
afraid to just keep this in theory. So, but thank you very much for the invitation. Happy to come back, and also happy to have you back in our radio show. And any of the
Yes.
listeners who want to be part of that radio show also, and more than welcome. And thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And audience, remember, go to the show notes, get Joe's information from there, get involved with the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, get involved, donate. If that's all you can do, that would be fantastic too. And remember, today is the day you become successful is the day you go legal yourself. I am Attorney Kelly Bagler, the Queen of Business Law, and it's been my pleasure to be your host today. Until next time, cheers to your success.